Travis Wayne Goodsell. I've got a special surprise for those who look at the links below in the prophecies of the name, Latter-day Prophecies names, whatever it's titled, that's being uploaded right now, which is already uploaded when you watch this. So you'll have to watch that video in order to go down into the description link below and click on it and get the uniqueness, because it's not a song this time. So, as I'm the one who's revealed to you that the Gospels are not Gospels, they're apocalyptic literature. And that means that the Book of Mormon is apocalyptic literature, as the Book of Mormon says it's apocalyptic literature. And Joseph Smith is told that the Book of Mormon is apocalyptic literature, as his being told is apocalyptic literature. Everything's apocalyptic literature. Nothing is literal history. And so, I'm sure most of you don't believe, but let me prove it to you. There were scriptures left out of the Bible, New Testament specifically, and one of those scriptures is from Peter. You know, the leader of the 12 apostles of Jesus. You know, the one who gave Brigham Young, Joseph Smith, the keys of the priesthood to rule the church, right? Wasn't Moses' keys in the Kirtland Temple? It was Peter. Because Nelson took the photo op at the Vatican Temple, holding the keys of Peter. I need to put that as the thumbnail. Oh, I've already got a thumbnail. I'll have to put... Okay, we'll make a new thumbnail. Nelson keys with thumbnail. Because I already have the thumbnail. It's Peter, James, and John conferring the Melchizedek priesthood upon Joseph Smith. And you'll have to pay close attention, because there are plates at his feet right before him as he's kneeling. And so, yeah. There are two for Peter. There are more, but there's a Gospel of Peter and an Apocalypse of Peter. Both of these did not make it into our New Testament. However, the Apocalypse of Peter has been very popular over time, as it was inspiring for many Christians, and even Dante's Divine Comedy. That was the inspiration for it. And so the particular one that I have a copy of is discovered in 1887 in the tomb of a Christian monk, along with the Gospel of Peter. And so, yeah, you're thinking, well, yeah, the Gospel is separate than the Apocalypse. You haven't read the Apocalypse. The Apocalypse starts off with the second coming of Christ and resurrection of the dead, which Christ revealed through Peter to those who died for their sins, because they did not keep the commandment of God their Creator. And he, Peter, pondered thereon, that he might perceive the mystery of the Son of God, the merciful and lover of mercy. And when the Lord was seated upon the Mount of Olives, his disciples came to him, and we besought and entreated him severally, and implored him, saying to him, Declare to us what are the signs of your coming and of the end of the world, that we may perceive and mark the time of your coming, and instruct those who come after us, to whom we preach the word of your gospel, and whom we install in your church, that they, when they hear it, may take heed to themselves and mark the time of your coming. Kind of different from Matthew 24, isn't it? But that's what Matthew 24 is. That's the apocalypse of Matthew. They merged them together, so it's the Gospel of Matthew and the Apocalypse of Matthew. This is the Apocalypse of Peter, and there's a Gospel of Peter that goes with it. And it's the same thing. And as I've gone over with you, the Gospel reveals the sign of his coming, the mark of the time. And so let's go over it again, because you don't believe. Nope. And so he quotes from Isaiah, sort of, misses out the mark of the time that Isaiah puts in there, and instead just says, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel." Well, the mark of the time is also in chapter 2, verse 1. Now when Jesus was born in the house of Bread Star. Bethlehem. Yeah, well, it's Revelation that gives us the mark of the time. And so we do know the day and the hour of his coming. And Revelation chapter 12. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a sign in heaven, mark of the time in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, virgin, because there's not an actual woman out in space. Kind of hard to breathe. If you're unfamiliar with how it would happen, I refer you to Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie with the Basic Instinct girl, Stone. I'm failing at Jeopardy. Movie Jeopardy. But they're on Mars, and they're trying to get the air on Mars back. And the people tend to have trouble breathing and causes deformities. But anyway, regardless of what the movie was, sun, clothed with the sun, moon under her feet. So yeah, this is a mark of the time. Star date, as I've been calling it. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And then verse 5 is brought to verse 3 by the Joseph Smith revision and the Book of Mormon. Oh, the Book of Mormon is prophecy? Apocalypse? Yes. You guys don't believe me. This is my field of study. This is my lane. Everyone else needs to get out of my lane. Quoting from Renlund from Conference. And so, yes, 23rd September 2017. The mark of the time of his coming. He's here. And guess what? It's not Jesus. But, that's blatantly obvious if you actually study your scriptures rather than taking scriptures out of context. And so, what you have with the Gospels is the story form of the apocalyptic part. Because you have his ministry when he comes in the latter days. And that's why you skip the childhood and teenage years and even the years when he should be married, if it were literal history. His time in the Roman Empire's service as a military man, as required for Jews. You know, all these things are missing because it's not literal history. Only what was necessary for prophecies for the latter-day Christ was put in the Gospels. And the Apocalypse specifically talks about the latter days. Whereas the story form, it gives you the star date, the mark of the time, and then the Gospels, or the Apocalypse part, tells it's a repeat, is basically what it is. And so thus the monk had both the gospel and the apocalypse for that purpose and reason. And Mormons should be concerned, as well as all Christianity, because Peter is the leader of the 12. Why don't we have his scriptures? Why do we have lesser authority person scriptures instead? There's a reason why the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints did the teachings manuals of the presidents of the church back in the day, and they just this past week came out with Monson's finally. As we don't get to learn his lessons, it's up to you to follow the church news, obtain it, and study it. Oh man, they just slammed Monson. But yet he was also, Monson died in verse 4, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, did cast them to the earth. Yeah, the Draco. Quadranted meteor showers. January 2nd, 2018, Monson dies. Draco the dragon has the quadranted meteor showers, which are the third largest stars in meteor showers for the year. And Monson Mars took over. What are their names? What is your favorite color? So there's a little teaser for you for the other video link. And so yes, all of Scripture written by the Jews are apocalyptic. That's why Samson is apocalyptic. He's not real. His name is the Sun King for a reason. Because the deaths that are involved are mark of the signs for solar eclipses. And solar eclipses also tell you where on earth the latter days will occur. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. Poor Prince.